newer rap fans might only know Snoop Dogg as an OG who hangs out with Martha Stewart and smokes weed. But there's a reason almost every rapper in the game is afraid of him. Snoop came up as a Rollin 20s Crip in Long Beach, and right after coming into the industry, he got hit with the first-degree murder charge. This is the wild story about why rappers are scared of Snoop Dogg. Snoop was born and raised in Long Beach, California. His dad abandoned the family when he was only 3 months old, so Snoop was mostly raised by his mom. Even as a kid, he knew how to hustle. He would hit the streets and sell candy, deliver newspapers, and bag groceries to help his mom out. At first, he wasn't even in the streets. Snoop was a good kid who sang in the church choir and played football. But when he became a teenager, Snoop started adapting to his environment. A Long Beach police gang task force agent told the LA Times, on a danger scale of 1 to 10, Long Beach rates about a 9. The gang situation has been way out of control there for more than a decade. Snoop started rocking with the Rollin 20s Crips and selling drugs. And around a month after he graduated high school, he got booked for cocaine possession. He was in and out of jail for the next 3 years, and Snoop realized he needed to switch up how he was moving. Back in 1993, he told the LA Times, "I want to stress something to the little kids out there. There ain't nothing cool about selling dope. I did it because I thought it was cool, but I was wrong, and I went to jail for it." Snoop had been rapping since he was a kid. He used to spit rhymes at school and draw a crowd, and that's how he knew he would make it in the industry. While he was locked up, Snoop says the OGs in jail told him, "Man, you're too talented to be in here. You need to be outside, not wasting your life away with crime." When Snoop was released from jail, he decided to go 100% into music. At first, he was writing and recording solo tracks, but then he linked up with Nate Dogg and Warren G and created a crew called 213. 213 started selling their tapes out of the trunk of a car, and eventually, Dr. Dre heard it and called Snoop up. Dre had just left NWA and was trying to get his solo career popping, so he brought Snoop in to help him out on his debut album, The Chronic. Snoop was featured all over the record and even wrote a lot of Dre's bars for him. The Chronic became one of the best-selling rap albums of the 90s, and Snoop became one of the hottest artists in the game overnight. He went from selling coke and getting locked up to being featured on a triple platinum album in just a couple of years. But Snoop still had one foot in the streets. While he was recording his debut album Doggy Style, Snoop got hit with a first-degree murder charge that almost sent him away for life. In August 1993, Snoop and a bunch of other people were chilling at his apartment when a dude named Philip Walter Merriam allegedly started causing issues. According to witnesses, Walter Merriam threatened Snoop with a gun and said he was in his hood. Snoop's lawyer also claimed that Walter Merriam had put a gun to Snoop's head at a gas station while Snoop was shooting a music video. Walter Merriam and his homies drove off to go get food. Then Snoop and his crew hopped in his Jeep and followed them. They rolled up on Walter Merriam at a local park, and the crew started going back and forth. At one point, Walter Merriam reached for his pistol, but Snoop's bodyguard McKinley Lee upped his strap and killed Walter Merriam before he can get off a shot. After Walter Merriam was killed, Snoop sped away from the scene. But instead of doing the race like Tay-K, Snoop turned himself in and spent the next 2 years fighting the case. Gangster rap was all over the news back then for allegedly causing more violence in the streets, and the media tried to paint Snoop as some bloodthirsty gangbanger who was ready to kill anyone. While he was waiting for his trial to start, Snoop told the LA Times, "The media is quick to point their finger when trouble strikes, but nobody ever asks a successful rapper like me how he feels about what's going on in the hood. I guess they think I'm macho and I don't care or something, but man, I'm someone who's trying to turn his life around," and it gets emotional. Snoop is never going back down, but that doesn't mean he loves violence. He said, "A dozen people know I've been smoked for no reason at all. I wish the violence would stop. I mean, right now, I got some little homeboys coming up who are happy to see me doing right, but it's so dangerous out there, they might not even live to see my album come out." Snoop and McKinley Lee both ended up getting acquitted, and the whole situation made him want to change up his life. In 2018, he went on the podcast, Now What, and said, "When I beat my case, I changed because I don't want to live this gangster life no more. I don't want that no more because I see the results of it, but leaving the gangster image behind wasn't that simple." At the time, Snoop was signed with Suge Knight at Death Row Records. Suge is one of the most infamous dudes in the rap game, and Snoop even called him the Boogeyman. According to rumors, Knight's first major deal in the industry came after he dangled Vanilla Ice off of a hotel balcony until he agreed to sign over the royalties for the track Ice Ice Baby. While Snoop was trying to spread more positivity and leave the violence in the past, Suge brought Tupac over to Death Row. Pac had a lot of beef in the industry and wasn't afraid of any smoke, but Snoop said, "I wasn't on that. I had a son, beat my murder case, he had little kids out on bail, picking fights with niggas. I'm trying to shake hands with motherfuckers. I come from gang banging. I know when you pick a fight with a it may not be over with till somebody get killed. Snoop and Pac were tight from the jump. Snoop said, fell in love with that. Me and him started hanging out, building a brotherhood with him. But Pac and Suge were beefing with Biggie and Puff Daddy during the infamous East Coast vs West Coast war, and when Snoop chose not to pick a side, it almost got him killed. After Snoop went on the radio and showed love to Puff and Biggie, Suge and Pac iced him out when he got back to the hotel room. And when the Death Row guys drove to the airport the next day to fly back to LA, Snoop says Suge wouldn't let any of his security ride with them. When they all got in the private plane, Snoop says he walked to the back and was ready for them to jump him. He grabbed a knife, a fork, and a blanket to hide him, then sat back and watched everyone for the whole flight. The plane touched down, and Snoop tried to say something to Pac, but Pac iced him out again. Then a few days later, Tupac was shot and killed in Las Vegas. Back in May, Snoop went on Logan Paul's podcast and said, "We feeling like it's gonna be alright until we get to the hospital and see that it ain't alright." He got tubes in him. When I walked in, I could just feel like he wasn't even there, and I fainted. Snoop says Pac's mom checked him and said, "My baby ain't never seen you weak. I don't want you to be weak in front of him. You go in the bathroom and fix yourself up, and you go back in there and talk to him, and you tell him how you feel." After Pac died, the situation with Suge got even worse. But while most dudes in the game were terrified of Suge, Snoop wasn't afraid to speak up. He accused Suge of being involved with Pac's death, and after his second album dropped, he refused to release any new music with Death Row. Then, in 2002, Snoop aired Suge out on the track Pimp Slapped, where he rapped, "This nigga's a bitch like his wife. Suge Knight's a bitch, and that's on my life. And I'ma let the whole world see, cause you f***ed up the industry, and that's on me." After all the drama with Suge and Death Row, Snoop really did turn everything around and start giving back. He's raised millions for charities, and in 2005, he started the Snoop Youth Football League for at-risk youth in California. In 2018, there were reportedly over 1,500 kids playing in the league, and Snoop even started a special needs division for kids with physical, mental, and developmental disabilities. But even though he's using his platform for good, Snoop still won't let anyone press him. Back in 2015, a dude from the Rollin Crips named Big Flossie aired Snoop out on Facebook for not doing enough for Long Beach. Rumors started flying that Snoop was banned from his old hood, but he hopped online to clear it up. Snoop posted a video and said,
"First of all you niggas talking that shit about Snoop can't come to the hood, he can't do this. I can do whatever I like when I like. Second of all, you niggas is 50 years old. You can't get a job, cuz? I'm the king of Long Beach. I made it fashionable for niggas to bang the dub. I made it universal, motherfucker. I'm the nigga that took the set around the whole globe. Yeah, that's me. That's who. But now I'm doing positive things now. I'm enlightening homies and showing them how to get it a different way. Cause I know the truth. And ain't none of you put me on the set. And ain't none of you motherfuckers gonna kick me off the set, mother. Yeah, Big Snoop Dogg. Don't get it f***ed up."
Snoop is one of the only OGs from the 90s who's still relevant today. At this point, he's not just a rapper, he's a certified superstar who still has connections to the street. A lot of rappers make it out of their hood and leave it behind. But Snoop has been giving back for decades and still shows love to Long Beach. Nobody else in the game is like Snoop, and that's why his rep has been solid since the 90s. And even though he's all about spreading positivity, other rappers know that trying to press him won't end well.